Right then, welcome back to 5. My name is Stephen Howson, and today we're going to be looking at some of the best football boots from Euros gone by. In at number 1 then, it can start nowhere else but an absolute classic, the ADIDAS COPA MUNDIAL as worn by Michel Platini in 1984. In 84, Platini captained France to success on home soil, and his individual impact in this tournament was huge. 9 of France's 14 goals in just 5 games. He is the top scorer of all time in a single Euros, and he was top scorer, obviously, in Euro 84. He scored the winner in France's opening match against Denmark, and he scored one perfect hat-trick against Belgium, as France topped their first round group with 3 wins out of 3. In the dramatic semi-final in Marseille against Portugal, Platini scored the final goal of the match for a memorable 3-2 win in the last minute of extra time. In the final against Spain, he opened the scoring with a free kick, helped by a monumental blunder from Spanish goalkeeper Luis Arredondo. A second goal from Bruno Belloni in injury time, and at the end of the match secured France's first major title in international football. Platini is considered to be one of the greatest players of all time and regarded as one of the finest passers of a football in history, which was co-signed by Pelé, who described Platini by saying, "He didn't run a lot like Cruyff, he didn't depend on physicality, but I liked how he was the brains of the organisation and organising everything on a pitch. He was a player who would have used his head in the broader sense, the way he shone with France and Juventus, and his capacity for taking free kicks made him the European footballer of the 80s. Next up then is the Mercurial Superfly 5, total crimson, black and yellow. Yeah, Ronaldo at the last Euros. With a colourway of total crimson, black and yellow, Ronaldo debuted the new Superfly line in the Champions League final. Ronaldo began UEFA Euro 2016 as one of 7 players to have scored in 3 separate European Championships and in a race with Zlatan Ibrahimovic to become the first to register in a 4th. He had to wait until his 3rd fixture in France to do it, but with his Swedish rival unable to find the net, Ronaldo made the record his own with a superb double against Hungary. Cristiano Ronaldo then suffered a knee injury in the 2016 final against France after being involved in a clash of knees with Dimitri Payet. He then twice tried to play on after treatment, but was eventually substituted, leaving the pitch in tears, but it all ended in glory as Portugal were able to get the job done and become Euro 2016 champions. Adidas Predator Precision, black, white and red. For me, Zidane, Beckham, these are possibly one of my favourite boots of all time. France won Euro 2000, becoming the first team to hold both the World Cup and the European Championship since West Germany did it in 1974. Zidane finished with 2 goals, bending a free kick in against Spain in the quarter-final and the golden goal in the semi-final against Portugal with a penalty. UEFA then named Zidane player of the tournament, and he lit up the competition with his elegant, skillful playing style. Zidane himself believed he was at his peak during this tournament, whilst UEFA even stated on their website that Zidane dominated a major championship in a way that no individual had since Diego Maradona in 1986. From the opening game against Denmark to the final against Italy, Zizou shone brightly, casting a spell on his opponents with clever flicks, mesmerising step-overs, slaloming runs and masterful vision. I agree, Zidane was at his peak in Euro 2000, and that was why at the time he was the world record transfer fee. It's curious that I don't think Zidane ever hit the heights that he hit in a French shirt, because the heights that he hit in the French shirt were absolutely astronomical. UMBRO SPECIALI, black and white, Alan Shearer, 1996. Nowadays, these would probably be a centre-half's boot or an old man's boot or something in that sort of line. But at the time, there was a lot of very, very good players that were rocking UMBRO, and Alan Shearer was amongst them. The Speciali was their top boot, and he didn't do too badly in it either. By the time Shearer represented England at the European Championships on home soil during the summer of 1996, he'd already scored 112 Premier League goals in just 138 games for Blackburn Rovers and had won the 94-95 title too. Not that I'm still bitter. Euro 96 was a bit more of a positive experience for a lot of England fans, and especially Alan Shearer. With England not required to qualify as hosts, Shearer hadn't scored in 12 games in the 21 months prior, and even his overall goal scoring record for England did not look too impressive, with only 5 goals in 23 games. However, he found the net in the 22nd minute of the first game against Switzerland, netting 5 goals in the tournament in total to take home the Golden Boot, which was a feat that Shearer described as the tournament that finally put him on the map on the world stage. Shearer and England eventually crashed out in the semi-final. It was Shearer that managed to put England ahead after just 3 minutes. But it was a very special time for me. I mean, the age I was, and I'm sure plenty of people watching, the age we were in this tournament, the tournament being held on home soil, the Three Lions song, Premier League was still quite new to everyone and very, very exciting. Football really did come home from the dark ages of the 80s where hooliganism and horrendous facilities really doubted a lot of people's opinion on what football could be. Euro 96 was the light that brought it back out into being a pastime that could be enjoyed by everybody. It was absolutely sensational. Alan Shearer and those black and white SPECIALI boots had a massive part to play in that too. But perhaps one of the most iconic pairs of football boots to ever grace a pitch, the Puma King. Black and white, iconic looking. Who's wore them, Steve? I'll tell you who's wore them. Only Johan Cruyff, Pele, Maradona, George Best. You go and find me another boot that's got that sort of range. Oh, and a little chap called Paul Gascoigne. He did all right at the Euros, didn't he? Well, today we're going to be looking at the 1976 version that Johan Cruyff wore. A man widely regarded as one of the greatest and most prolific players in history of the sport, as well as being considered one of the most influential figures in football history, and that's correct, by the way. He styled the Puma Kings in 1976, 1 year before his eventual international retirement, which could be regarded as his swan song in international football, which made the boots just a little bit more iconic. Cruyff's strong personality, added to his charisma, also played a role in the struggle between both Puma and Adidas, as the two rival brands were born from a division between two Dassler brothers. I'm not sure if you're aware of that whole story. But Cruyff was a fan of Puma King's boots, and by 1974 had signed a sponsorship deal with the German sportswear and equipment supplier. And at the same time, in the 1974 World Cup, he was under contract with Puma in a deal that prohibited him from wearing any other sports brands. Now, this was before that you saw these massive commercial deals with teams, and at the moment you see Ronaldo wears Nike. Fortunately, Portugal also wear Nike, but you never really saw this clash of where, look, Barcelona are sponsored by Nike and Messi is one of the biggest Adidas wearers on the planet. That's just a nature, of course, but at the time, sponsorships was very new to football. And Cruyff, out of loyalty to Puma, said, I'm not wearing an Adidas kit. The rest of the team in the 74 World Cup were all wearing Adidas World Cups or COPA MUNDIALs, and he went, no, I'm going to wear my Puma Kings, and you will make me a new kit as well. No one on this planet could get away with that like Johan Cruyff could get away. So the Dutch national team commissioned a special 2-stripe version of their 3-stripe Adidas kit, and Johan Cruyff wore it, and was absolutely sensational when he wore it as well. Now, that was something that he also took forward to the Euros in 1976, where he performed in the Puma King boots again, but he did fail to register a single goal, retiring from international football just a year later, something which he came out and later regretted, as when the Netherlands got to the final of the World Cup just 2 years after that in 1978, he felt like he could have made the difference and get them over the line to actually win a World Cup, what might have been then. But that's my favourite 5 boots, I guess, from the Euros. Let me know in the comments who are yours and what's the most iconic boot going to be from this tournament. See you in the next one. Laters.